Welcome, bats and clowns, one and all. My name is Justin, and this is not a review, nor is it a critique. It is, in fact, an analysis on a game long since thought dead, at least to me. Today, we'll be talking about how Gotham City Impostors holds up in 2018. First, a debrief for the newly acquainted. Gotham City Impostors was, and technically still is, a multiplayer FPS released in 2012 exclusively on digital platforms. The game was produced by Monolith Productions, a company that was well versed in shooters since they were behind the Fear and Condemned games, but since then their efforts have been transitioned to the Middle-earth games, including the newly released Shadow of War. Gotham City Impostors is a 6-on-6 shooter that has elements of Team Fortress 2 and its wacky behavior, gameplay by way of Call of Duty, and of course the Batman franchise weighing heavily on its back. A collective of vigilantes and crooks have banded together in celebration of their respective hero and are willing to enter an all-out gang war over it, complete with guns, makeshift bombs, and equipment for bringing a smackdown. Now, it's important to remember that Gotham City Impostors was kind of interesting at its time. When it launched, the big AAA shooters hitting the market at that time were Modern Warfare 3 and Battlefield 3. Oh, and a remake of Halo 1. Yep. Great competition. Next level! But Gotham City Impostors reveled in knowing it was nowhere close to being AAA, and it didn't treat itself like one. It released at $15, offered 5 maps and 3 game modes, along with a handful of weapons. They'd expand over time with free and paid DLC bits, the free stuff most notably being new game modes and 3 new maps. Sadly, it didn't seem like it would hold up, and so by the end of 2012, Gotham City Impostors, at least on PC, went free to play. A move that made sense given the time and place. This was only a year after Team Fortress 2 had gone free to play on PC. The sad thing is, the extra content that they made during the free-to-play years never made its way to the console ports. Worse off, PS3 users like myself were boned when the GameSpy shutdown came along, so Gotham City Impostors on PS3 is, now today, literally unplayable. However, it's 2018. We are deep into a new console generation, featuring iterative hardware updates and Nintendo raking in with what's a glorified tablet. 6 years since Gotham City Impostors first debuted. How does it hold up now? Well, it's hanging on. As I launched into the game, I was reminded of that silly WBID, a way for Warner and Monolith to keep track of your progress outside of Steam, I suppose. I peeked at stuff, all the reminders of the cosmetics and Call of Duty-esque profile configuration. Cute stuff. I noticed my loadouts, which were damn simple, and then I jumped into the tutorial to get reacquainted. The game's true character isn't made obvious here, but the feel of the game is easy enough to understand, if a little janky. Little things like the sprint just being a static rig, and quirks with the gadgets that made some of them awkward to use. I'd like to point out, my first stop was into the Team Deathmatch mode, but I made certain to at least try the other ones. 5 minutes queued for Fumigation, Psych Warfare, and Bounty Hunter. The last one seemed perfect to me. I thought people liked that Kill Confirmed game mode from MW3, but nope, dead like the rest. That's a real shame. My first match in TDM showed me some of the hideous accuracy of guns that seemed to be unreasonable. Why is this burstfire rifle more accurate than my single-shot gun made for long-range engagements? Why was this heavy guy with a handful of pellets able to dish out more kills by comparison? Why is this sword so kick-ass? Many questions to answer, but not enough time to figure it all out. Gotham City Impostors offers you a loadout consisting of 2 guns, a gadget, and a tool. There are also perks and bonuses you'll have to make your loadout more effective. The gadgets are typically a means of navigating the map, from a wing diver suit to roller skates to a tracking device that will point out enemies for you to target down or run away from. You have options aplenty. The weapons are quite varied as well. Bog standard guns you found at pawn shops and flea markets, to makeshift equipment like bombs flung with a slingshot, to a blunderbuss that shoots parrots that pester and disengage your target. A sword, rocket launcher, and air horn that just heals your teammates through motivation. This game revels in its silly nature, and that makes it quite a bit more charming than a run-of-the-mill FPS, though not to the standard that Team Fortress 2 has achieved. Of course, you would expect a variety of weapons to maybe get some proper weapon balance, but no, the weapons are not balanced in any reasonable fashion. I mentioned the accuracy issue again. This could have something to do with the movement, but the marksman rifle, clearly made to do single shot damage reasonably well, which is being outdone by my burst rifle nonsense as well as my machine gun insanity. Yeah, okay. And the sword, well, you carry that thing with roller skates, you've just about won the game. Ah, shit. I found a sincere lack of insanity, however. There were goofy players doing craptastic things. Yeah, I see you up there, you cheeky dick. I'm coming over there, I'm bringing my birds. I call them robins. Never, though, did I see a real horde of people doing insane things like airdrops with their wing diver suits, or just low-health shotgunning Nazis. Some of that might have come down to the player base. I was definitely being matched up against some beginners. I certainly wasn't a veteran myself, but having played across 2 platforms, I had enough of a grasp on the game to frequently end up in the top 3. More often than not, I was just doing dumb stuff even, because this is a game where you do dumb stuff. Gotham City Impostors' biggest issue really lies in its player base now. We're dealing with kids who don't necessarily have a hold on the concept of the FPS, and have downloaded this game just because it's related to Batman, it's a first-person shooter, and it was free on Steam. Gotham City Impostors in 2018 is what I was hoping for. A fun and goofy game with a handful of people to get you 20, maybe 30 minutes of enjoyment out of. But it is not a thriving game. It is on its last legs. The TDM game mode is the only one with players now. There's no one great player, and weapon balance was really just a facade that proves that this was not a game to be taken seriously. If you're interested in trying it out, Gotham City Impostors is still available for free on Steam. If you're hoping to play on consoles, you'll be sad to know that the PS3 version is shut down, the Xbox 360 version is likely abandoned, as well as costing $15 still, and it's not been given the kind of Xbox One backwards compatible treatment that it deserves. Given Monolith's current focus, it's also safe to assume that there will not be a sequel, nor any efforts to bring it back around, even as a backwards compatible title. There's also the Gotham City Impostors Reddit, which will contain links to a Discord server. Maybe you'll be able to coordinate some matches with the group there. Older games like that have had those situations, and sometimes it's worked out, but who knows. I've enjoyed my time with Gotham City Impostors, but I don't know if I'm going to be coming back to it. If you guys have any interest in it, maybe you should take a shot, though.